Hi, welcome to another episode. Today I'm here with Kris Houser of Insight Inspections. I'm Joe Iuculano, and today we're going to talk about home inspections, and we're going to ask 5 questions with Kris. So Kris, first off, why don't you start off, introduce yourself, tell us how you got into the business.
Well, back in high school and in college, I used to have construction jobs, and it was a great way to learn new skills and different life lessons. And after going through college and starting off in the corporate world, I always felt this pull to go back to the construction side. So I started looking and researching home inspections and found out that I could go to school at night and continue to also get back into my construction background, and ended up leaving the construction industry, leaving the corporate industry in 2003 to start my own business. So it's been about 13 years, 12 to 13 years that we've been doing inspections, and it's a great business to be in.
Awesome. All right, Kris, so when I talk to my clients, I always tell them that a home inspection is probably going to be one of the best investments when you're buying a home. It could save you anywhere from a couple hundred to a couple thousand to even tens of thousands of dollars, depending on what the items were that they found. So why don't you tell us a little bit about what home inspections covers and things like that?
Sure. Basically, I try to tell people it's a snapshot of how the house is currently doing in its current condition. So we focus on the major big ticket items, so that would be structural, roof, AC, electrical, plumbing, all the appliances inside the house, and it gives a good, thorough evaluation to the person who's purchasing the house to understand how the house is and what needs to be done, other things to maybe upgrade in the future, things to plan for, and just a great snapshot of how the house is doing.
And just a great overall kind of understanding of the condition, the integrity, things like that of the current property. All right, cool. Kris, the second question that I have for my audience is, should the buyers be present during the home inspection?
I always recommend, Joe, to have someone there during the inspection on the buyer side at some point. The best thing for us is the first hour. It's critical for the inspector to go through their checklist, to get everything turned on, to make sure the air conditioning and everything's being tested. So we ask that first hour to have some uninterrupted time, but we definitely would like a client to be there towards the end. And typically the inspection process, they'll typically show at the very end to kind of review and walk through the report, and then they can find out what was noticed at that time.
Yeah, that's exactly kind of what I tell my clients. I say, let them do their job, don't interrupt them. Kind of show up towards the end. This way they can kind of show you everything that they may have found during the inspection, or point out things or any questions or concerns the buyer may have. They can then kind of get a little bit more intimate approach with the inspector and kind of point things out and show them around.
Right, and a lot of things we can find out what they're going to do if they're going to upgrade or remodel certain things, so we can discuss those at that time. So it's a real good opportunity for the buyer to have a little bit more time there than they normally would, because when they're in the offer stage, when you're walking through, they're not in the house as long as they probably would like, because it might be occupied or you might be under time restraints for some reason. So it's a good time to have people show up at.
Kris, the third question that I have is, being in Arizona, being in the desert, in the heat, what specific concerns should buyers have during the inspection process?
Well, a major item out here, Joe, that we're all concerned about is air conditioning, right? Without AC, it's going to be a very difficult summer, as we're noticing right now. without a heat source. It's going to be a little bit of a cold winter, but not too cold. But the lion's share of the inspection is going to be on the AC. So we really try to go above and beyond with our inspection process. If we do see something that does fall underneath the standards, to call out a specialist or ask for an outside third party to come look at it. So I would say, to answer your question, probably the biggest ticket out here item would be air conditioning.
Air conditioning. Okay. It's good to know. All right, Kris, fourth question. How long does a typical inspection take? I know depending on maybe size, square footage, levels, things like that.
Yeah, I mean, typically it takes about 2 to 3 hours. Generally, if it's a 2,000 square foot, we would estimate anywhere from about 2.5 to 3 hours. If there's a pool or a spa, might take a little bit longer if it's a larger property. But a good rule of thumb is about 2 to 3 hours.
2 to 3 hours. Now, also as well, I know when clients have the SPUDs report from the seller,
Right.
You guys will then take a little bit more look into certain items if there's anything more to kind of dig deeper in. So that
Right.
that can kind of vary.
Yeah. So if we can get those earlier than normal during the inspection process, so that we can review those items, that helps out the inspector. So ideally, SPUDs, if we can see them at the time of the inspection, would be great. And you're right, if we see something, then we'll go back to, okay, this was fixed. We'll go double check to make sure it's correct. It was done the right way, that they used the correct steps to fix it. So yeah, to answer your question, that's yes.
Yeah. No, so a couple of hours, depending on whether you're adding a pool inspection, termite, or if there's other things that you want to point out to have yourself dig a look.
Yeah, I'd say a good rule of thumb is about 2 to 3 hours.
Perfect. All right, Kris, the last question that we got from our audience is, what type of inspection report do you provide? So when you complete an inspection, what are they going to see, and how can we correct any issues?
Well, I'm glad you asked this, Joe, because this is a big thing that we pride ourselves on in our inspections, is how the delivery of the report gets handed over to the buyer. We have our software program on a tablet, which we take pictures at the scene of the inspection. When we're doing our walkthrough in the last 30 to 45 minutes of the inspection, we will visibly show the client the items that we've found, and we will also show them the report on our tablet. The delivery on the report is in a PDF that goes directly to you and your client, typically at the end of the inspection or within the next 5 hours.
Wow.
So you will have it the same day.
So yeah, pretty fast response, good work as far as inspection. I mean, it seems like you're the guy to go to.
I am the guy.
Awesome.
If I can
Well,
help you,
Kris,
Doug, thank you.
thank you so much for being here. Thanks so much for taking the time with our audience. Kris, if someone wants to get a hold of you, or they want to reach out to you to be their home inspector, where can they get a hold of you at?
Best thing to do would be to go to our website, and that is www.insightinspects.com, or you can call us at 623-594-8131.
All right, I know I got him on speed dial, guys. If you have any further questions, please feel free to reach out to me directly. My number 480-577-6101, or go to my website, joeiuculano.com. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day.